To do is I told them I'm going to kind of take notes, but then I'll go back and listen and type in notes. And then I'll share it with y'all.
Okay.
Okay? All right, where
No,
do we want to start?
I'm sorry. I just want to clarify that we don't submit it, right? Amy is the one that's going to submit it
Yes,
since
ma'am.
it's, yes, okay.
Just one person.
Okay,
Oh,
got
it's
it.
one part? Okay. I thought it was all of us. Okay.
Yeah. So whoever is the note taker, that's who submits it.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, book club expectations. I don't have a meeting template for us. I can pull
Um,
it up.
I do have the directions pulled up. Hold on, let me exit out of Zoom. Um, we are supposed to discuss 20 to 30 minutes for the textbook and 20 to 30 minutes for the Frizzy book.
Crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
So textbook first. Okay, let me pull that up.
And
And
so
then
there
we're supposed
was,
to talk at least one lesson plan from each chapter.
and then there was like questions and then concerns. Didn't I see that somewhere?
Question, concerns, alternate resources. Hold on. Hold
Oh,
on, I
there it
have.
is. Questions, comments, concerns, connections. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I actually enjoyed the critical comprehensions reading this time because it had the actual text and like they're relevant. They're relevant text. And do you know what I'm talking about? Like the actual lessons that are in there. I have actually already shared some of these books with I'm an instructional coach, so I've already shared some of these books with the teachers in these lessons.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, on the third one, the Big Bad Wolf, I don't remember the name of the book. I actually taught a lesson similar to that when I taught pre-K because we were comparing and contrasting. So, like you said, it is super relevant and something that you can actually teach, unlike, some of the lessons where I feel like it's just fluff on some
Yeah.
other textbooks. But no, I would see myself teaching some of these lessons if I had autonomy in my district. But
Mm.
Yeah, I would, and I've taught the true story of the Big Bad Wolf. I've actually done that lesson with my third graders a couple years ago when I did third grade. And so just to make the connections with it that the author suggests here, I was like, this is a different perspective to look at it because we did compare and contrast with it, like, so I think Paula just said,
same.
but you just to look at it in a different way, I thought it was interesting. I was like, now I can see it. Now, like my eyes are open, like, oh, now I can make a connection with it. Yeah. So that one and the other one that I liked Zoom. I've done Zoom before with just a picture talk. So it Duck Rabbit I've read it but not done any true activity with it. So some of the books were familiar with to me. So it was this, like you said, Amy, this one was like really interesting and something that I could share really quick with someone else.
Yes.
Okay. So my answer is probably going to be the most like not
That's
as
okay.
filling as what you guys are. So I'm a first year. Yeah.
Hey.
So, this is like a different segue for me. So everything I'm learning is kind of like new information for me. I'm not familiar with any of the books. Everything is just like a new thing for me. So I can say that I like the exposure that I'm getting from it. I appreciate like kind of being able to see potentially what readings could look like in different age groups and things like that. Um, but yeah, all around and all in all for me, I just really liked the exposure, I guess, more so than anything, because I'm not able to relate it back as much. I did get offered a position, so soon I will be. But yeah, so that's kind of where I am. I do have like I know we were supposed to talk about like like the chapters and like the textbook, and I have like the notes I took. So I was just gonna kind of like go through some of those key points when we get there, and I definitely
Okay.
could contribute like more thoughts there. But
Okay. So another part that, and it's chapter 2, and it's the just the diversity. I teach at a Title I school. I have um biracial grandchildren, so it hits home with me. And so there's the one, I am every good thing. And it basically is, I mean, it's all racial and showing kids that it doesn't matter what their skin is or what their hair is. Like we're all good no matter what anybody's saying. And
Yeah.
then there's also the I love my hair
Mhm.
because my grandbabies have some wild hair. And so all of these stories like I share. And so I take on my students just like they're my babies. So I mean, whenever they see themselves in these stories, it's huge. It's huge.
right. Right. I definitely agree. I can say like I appreciated the diversity aspect too, because I'm mixed. So I'm Puerto Rican and I'm African American too. So I work at a school now that has a very high Hispanic population. A lot of ESOL, a lot of people like translating. Like I have parents that honestly can't even speak to me. Like I speak through siblings and different things like that. So I appreciated that inclusion as well. Like I've incorporated like a song in the beginning of one of my lesson plans that like tells them how to say hello in all the languages. Like, and we talk to different people and say it in their language depending on who's in my class. So I appreciated that too. So just to kind of piggyback off of what you said.
Yeah.
Picking back off of what everyone's saying, agreed. And I actually highlighted the page 40, like when students have a teacher of color or teacher that looks like them, they're more likely to graduate, they're more likely to succeed, which saying I work Title I school and about 50% of our population is Hispanic. And they can like they know when they see me, like they identify, they know they work. I still have like I teach second grade. I still have fifth grade teachers that come to me and was like, hey, can you talk to this kid? Because it's not easier to build a relationship, but like we look the same, we talk the same, speak the same language. So yeah, I really appreciated the diversity on this one. And also the on page 46 where names matter. Names matter so much. And some of these babies are
Yes.
not going to correct you because it's rude to correct an adult.
No, it's
I
not.
like I almost cried when I saw the name Paola on in like this book. If I would have seen that at 10, 8 years old, like I think that would have changed my world. And I'm 35 years old. So I can't imagine like an 8-year old that can actually like pick up a book and see themselves in it, which I don't know how that's gonna go with the DEI Trump thing, but that's a different subject.
And hearing you say that about your name, like I asked, is it Paula or Paolo? Because we have kids here that will go by Paula because it's easier for their teacher.
Because it's same. I went by Payola, but I still have friends that call me Payola because I never corrected my teacher because it was rude.
Yeah.
I have a fifth grade student. Her name is Paola, and like I told her, I was like, girl, you need to correct them because you will be Payola for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I truly, truly appreciate the diversity. I'm really liking this textbook. I think it's the first book that I'm actually going to use
Right?
side of the setting.
I agree.
And one thing I like about it is the fact, how it gives those questions that you can ask students. And then it doesn't give you just one overall question. It's where you can differentiate it between, levels. And it goes back to, just not just reading the text just to read it, but to read it with purpose.
Right.
So, and I like, the first read, the second read, the third read, which is something that we all as teachers do. But just to see it, hey, read the first time, second time, third time, and these are questions you can ask. I was like, oh my gosh, here it is, plain as day. So having that, and definitely, for me, when this is not my first time reading Frizzy, because I do book club at my school. So this was one of our books about 2 years ago. So for me, having, someone asked me why a lot of times I wear my hair in a bun or wear, my hair is natural. So, and they asked me all that time, and I said, because there are a lot of kids walking around here that look like me, and they need to see that they can wear, it's okay to wear your hair curly. It's okay. So this book, it was like a true connection because kids need to be able to see themselves in the adults around them. They need to see, they
Yes.
need to be able to have mirror images of themselves in order to make connection, and having a story or book that they can say, oh, situation is something that I can make a connection to. It's super important for them just to build that confidence and just for them to build themselves up. So this book is like really, really good. And even the other stories that are in the text, our actual textbook, I was, as I said, some of them I've read before, but, just about all of them have something or some scenario that a child may be able to take something from and use.
Mhm.
And that's, I'm not gonna mess your name up. Paola.
A pot as in
Jeez,
Papa
I
and
said
then
it
Paula.
first.
No, you're fine.
I'm trying.
No.
I'm gonna get it. But you have to, make that correction early so that the child will know that it's not okay. That my name is important. We read that story, I think it's called Name Jar, Name Something at the beginning of the year, and we talk about how names are important. And so students, regardless of the story that you read, to infuse that diversity portion in your classroom, you have to not just read it one time and forget about it. You have to make it a continuous statement in your room so that these students can make those connections.
I do
Okay,
have
give
a
me,
question.
yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
I do have a question for y'all. Or concern, I don't know what it would be.
Mhm.
For my district, we use Wit and Wisdom for reading. We use Eureka for math. But I'm telling you, every single minute of the day is scripted. Even our morning meetings, we use Leader and Me, which is a scripted curriculum. Like, how, I don't know, do y'all have the autonomy to pick the book? Like, I cannot pick the books that I'm going to read. If I want to do a lesson, and I want to do the lesson so bad on the first one, I am Every Good Thing,
Mhm.
but there's no time. I can't do it.
So
And I
we
have to
just,
get permission to not teach the lessons of Wit and Wisdom that we're on because we get in trouble, we fall behind.
so we
Like,
started with Benchmark this year, and
yeah, benchmark.
there are a few days in Benchmark where you can choose your read aloud. It's
Mhm.
scripted, but there are a few days. So do
And
y'all
that's
have
what I was gonna say for your during your small group time. Is there any way for you to have a center or a time where kids can choose like have a selection of books, like have a choice of
So
what books to read
even
along with embedded questions?
so the issues that my small group time is my ELT, which is my newcomers.
Um,
And we're
Um,
doing letters and sounds, and they, other than me sitting here and translating every single word, like they won't understand. And during ELT, I'm doing RTI with one of my friends really needs it. So because he needs it, we're all doing RTI, and it's a scripted phonics curriculum.
That's unfortunate.
So
yeah.
there is no autonomy in my district at all.
Mm.
Oh man. Like yeah, this is something we're gonna have to think about, like
Yeah.
how to infuse it.
Mm-hmm. We
But
can put
I
that in
mean,
our questions.
yeah, how can how could we make this possible? Because that's definitely a question. How can you infuse it? Because
And I know I'm not the only
yeah,
one.
No,
yeah, we don't have that power to make, big ch changes, but
no.
how can we creatively infuse it in our classroom to ensure that that diversity piece is being carried through our lessons?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like what I found, and I know I don't have as much experience, but at my school, well, first, what classrooms do you all work in? Are
I'm
you like,
ESOL.
okay,
I'm an instructional coach.
okay,
Yeah. And I'm an early intervention specialist, so I'm all over the building. I see
okay,
everyone.
okay. So I'm just a teacher, but okay.
So you
So
have a good range to ask.
yeah, for sure. I would say like I incorporated in like not necessarily like instruction because like you said, like the curriculum is very like this is what we're on, this is what is expected of you. This is the book that you're supposed to be reading right now. Like I literally talked to someone who told me like not to even curate my own materials. But I work in a self-contained AU. So so like it's a little bit different. They need that structure and they need that schedule. They need that schedule for those transitions. So they're prepared, so they're able to move accordingly and know what they're doing. So I kind of incorporated during like that time of like circle time, or okay, we're having free play centers, but still finding a way to like make it like instructional. So I feel like incorporating diversity there is where I'm like the most successful because it like gives me like that freedom to choose as opposed to the curriculum, which is just like, what are you doing?
Structured.
Where's this book? Like, where's the data? Where, like, you know? Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like that is, I guess that would be fall under concern, right? Like we don't have the autonomy or the power to say, you know what, I'm not teaching this lesson today. I'm going to teach the book Frizzy.
Yes.
I can't. I'll get in trouble.
Right.
I know what I've done is I've done when I was a homeroom teacher, I did book studies with my class, but this is something that you have to, you're going to dedicate losing your free time, quote unquote free time. We have so much free time. But the lunch period, I usually I used to do a book study and I would select a book and we would lunch and learn pretty much, in the classroom, put it up on the active board and the kids could eat. If they didn't want to, they would eat and we just watch it.
That's a
Watch it
good idea.
and then the question, I'd give them, there would be a question at the end for them to just give me a written response because I was trying to help. I was like trying to do writing every chance I got. So I would, say, okay, after our lunch and learn, lunch is over with, as transition, I would get ready to use restroom and I'm standing at the door watching people use restrooms, go ahead for those that are waiting to go to restroom, go ahead and respond to what we read, the chapter that we did during lunch or 2 chapters we did during lunch. To just kind of give us that at least, and then they got a chance to just talk about it and stuff. So you had to be some sort of creative way, but then again, I'm giving up my lunchtime to sit in class with all my kids,
Yeah.
So, you just have to figure out, what works for you.
I mean, I already give up my lunch. I am down to 10 minutes at lunch because I do lunch bunch.
You can't do lunch and learn it.
Because that's I actually haven't eaten today. Like I'll eat when we leave here. But it's like it's sad that we have to give up our lunch to meet the kids where they're at because literally the district won't let us teach how
Yeah.
we know to teach.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're definitely gonna have to think about it. I guess we have a few more meetings to go, but we won't forget your struggle. Okay.
So,
So also speaking about the critical comprehension, on our quizzes, she always goes back to, I got it marked here somewhere, to the tables on page 24 and 25. Have y'all taken both quizzes?
No, I haven't done my second quiz yet because
done
I
the
wanted to I wanted to meet with you guys first before I took my quiz.
same.
So I haven't done my second quiz yet.
So she always asks about referring back to these tables.
On
So I'll
page
just, yeah, page 24 and 25.
24, figure is 1.3.
So I
But
will
that would be for the book Frizzy, right?
yeah, so on the quizzes, she'll ask you to refer back to this. So I just wanted to go ahead and warn you that she does ask again for you to refer back to this. I
So-
did take quiz too. I
So
did.
answer these questions, but to the book Frizzy.
Yes.
Okay.
Not all of them, but she asked you to refer back, just like she did for Rain.
Mm.
Same thing.
Okay.
So that was hard for me just to choose a couple. So I don't know if it was good enough or so hopefully it's good enough.
It's good enough. I have my textbook digitally, so I'm like scrolling through it. So
If it helps, it's figure 1, 3, 1, 4, and 1, 5.
got it. Yeah. Page 24. So questions to consider when reading for critical comprehension.
I
Okay.
did the first
Mhm.
one, like how is the text? I've never read a graphic novel before. I'm not
I
I mean
did
I
not like
really enjoyed it.
You
But
did? You did
I
enjoy it?
enjoyed the book, but the graphic and how it's like in a graphic novel, I sometimes had issues. Like I would have to go back and like because I was reading the wrong bubble, like how it flows. So if you're gonna give this to a child or your student, like I think there would have to be a mini lesson or a lesson on something on how to follow. Graphic novels don't
Well,
flow the way that a regular.
our students though, they prefer graphic novels. So
They
they
do.
do know how.
They
Ooh.
do. They do. And we have this is a popular book that's checked out at my school. A lot of the fourth grade and fifth graders check this book out because they like the graphic novel. They like the pictures and stuff like that. And I think it's because of I don't know if it's um because a lot of them watch, I don't want to say Spider-Man or all that stuff, but all those action figure type things.
Anime.
And yeah, yeah, I was trying to figure out what the word was. Anime.
Anime. This
Like
reads
I know
like
this
a
word. So I
wait,
think
what do they
that's
call them?
probably what it is.
Manga. This reads
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah,
manga,
yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
kids
yeah.
love the
Yeah,
absolutely,
so
yeah.
they're making that connection with it, and I like Frizzy. I've like I said, I've read it before, so wasn't hard to follow as some of the graphic novels are. Some of them are a little bit harder to follow, but it wasn't too much on the page for me. It wasn't too much on the page, but I think the beginning of the book, we see her at one point, and then it kind of jumps to where she's, I guess, a little bit older. Um, I like that transition of the story. And then, the ending to me just warms my heart. But the book overall wasn't a hard read. As
Right.
it wasn't a hard read at all. But for me, I don't know. I guess because I've read graphic novels before, it wasn't too hard for me to read it. I don't know.
And see, this is the first graphic novel that I pick up. I have
So
never.
we have to get you reading some more.
Yeah, I love this book. If I would have read this at 10, like my hair, because it doesn't look like it, but I have really curly hair.
Mhm.
The process of when she explains, you can't use a towel, you have to use a diffuser, you have to use like all the
Mhm.
products. I
Mhm.
started that like maybe 3 years ago because I didn't know. My mom also has curly hair, but
Mhm.
in Mexico we don't really know how to make our curls curlier.
Mhm.
So I love that she, laid out the process of this is how you treat curly hair. I can see why it's popular in your school.
Mhm.
I bought it, so I'm definitely gonna add it to my classroom library because I want my kids to read it.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the one of my students that read it previously said, "Oh, I have the same issue," and I was like, "What do you mean you have the same issue?" And she said, "Well, I have the same problem. My hair is always, not doing what I wanted to do." When she tried to take she tried to go to school, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna defy mom. I'm gonna do whatever." And she said, "Oh, I have the same problem." Where her hair is not doing what she wants to do. Like she wants it to be curly. She wants to wear it the way it naturally is, but it in her brain, it does not look as how she wants it to look, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm like, you have to own that thing, girl.
Yeah.
You gotta own it.
I feel like it was like a sense of conformity. So like for my
Mhm.
notes, like the themes that I were getting from it was like self-acceptance, cultural
Mhm.
identity, family
Mhm.
relations, like empowerment, like and just like kind of embracing like every
Mhm.
she has like God gave her, so
Mhm.
I appreciated that as well. And
Yeah,
And
definitely empowering and owning it.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the relationship with her mom, like the power struggle that the mom was having with
right.
her mom really did want what was best for her. Like she thought she was coming from the right place. And then what's her name? And not
Camila,
Camila. Camila?
Camila.
No. Camila's the friend, right?
Mhm.
God, I'm blanking on her name.
I know.
Marlene. No.
Marlene,
Oh,
Mm,
Marlene.
Marlene, I thought
you
was
over
a
there,
different
Marlene.
no,
Oh,
Yeah,
in
that's
it's
Spanish is Marlene.
Camila or Marlene.
The main character is
is
Marlene,
Marlene.
right? And
Yeah.
then but her best friend is
Yeah,
Camila.
yeah. Camila
Yeah.
is a friend.
Ruby is her Tia.
Yeah,
Ruby's
Ruby's the aunt.
Yeah.
yeah, Marlene is the main character and
Yeah,
Camila is her best friend. So
Yeah.
the power struggle that Marlene was having with her mom, even though
Mhm.
her mom was coming from like the best place possible, wanted the best for her daughter, but she was
Mhm.
giving her all these issues and all these like following all these stereotypes without meaning to. You know, your curly hair is not professional. Your hair has to be straight for you to be accepted. Um, so like Victoria was saying, I really appreciate the themes that were going on in the story. Go
Mhm.
away.
And one of the things I remember putting on the quiz is looking back at those tables that she gave us and whose perspective is heard and whose is not heard.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
I'm bothered because yes, I'm white, but I have a total understanding of this hair, of these things. So I'm offended that they say only white hair is good. So
Mhm.
like that is so not the truth because I would love to have my grandkids' hair. I'm just saying.
And that offers a different perspective too. Because some people, and just honestly speaking, I feel like a lot of people would be scared to say what you just said. So, like the
Mhm.
fact that you were even willing to say it, like we need more of that. So,
Yes.
like, it's more informative and people, can have a sense of comfort. I'm sorry, my dog. Can it stop? I'm so sorry.
Oh, we have
No,
two
same with my
kittens.
cat over here. And bouncing off of Amy and the fact that I mean, I'm not white, but the white characters were the bullies.
Yes.
Like they were making fun of her, that were like couldn't accept her for what she was. And I think there's only two white characters in the book. So vice versa, where half of the time it's, a white perspective, or, this is the other way around. It's coming from a brown, black, it's perspective, but not white voice is not heard in this
Right.
Yeah,
book. And I'm sure there's white people with curly hair.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
there are.
So good conversations, y'all.
Yeah, I think Frizzy definitely was the winner for us.
Yeah, it's one of those books that you can use and just have like really deep conversation with kids,
Yeah.
and it's something that they can connect with. You know what I'm saying? It's something that they can truly connect with because it has, even if you not look at the here piece, but there's a struggle with the parent coming
Mhm.
from that end as well,
Right.
of they're not listening to me. That's another conversation piece there. So
Or
yeah.
even the daughter, I mean the mom learning from the daughter that it's
Yeah.
okay to be yourself, no
Yeah.
matter what that self is.
Yeah. And I think, the dealing with grief, that was another theme that I took from it, dealing with grief and mom in her mind by not making her hair curly anymore and not doing the things she was trying to cut off that memory she had of dad. You know, I don't need to because he used to compliment them about their curly hair. So with her stop doing her hair like that, she just didn't want that memory anymore. So that other aspect. So it's so many things you can get from this one story. Grief is going on here because it's just mom and her now. It's, dad's no longer there. And even though they don't really talk about that until you see that reflection towards the end of the story, then you're like, oh, that is what's the reason why mom is pushing for her to really. And then what's crazy, another part I was looking at is in the beginning of the story when they're talking about, oh, you want me to be good on the inside, we say all these things, but yet you're telling me my looks, I need my looks. But we talk about being good on the inside. I was like, that's so
Yeah.
contradicting.
Yes. And how many times do we contradict our kids and we're not even
Yeah,
Thinking about
realizing that we're contradicting?
Mhm.
yeah. That I just all through the story, I was like, yeah, we as adults, we have to really take a step back and think about the things that we say sometimes
Right,
because that's so contradicting right there.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. To kind of like connect it, I guess, to the text because I want to make sure I'm reading the rubric now, just to make
Hmm.
sure kind of hitting all of our bases. I think that kind of ties back to when they were mentioning like the active interrogation, like
Hmm.
and challenging like power structures and things of that, like how some are more privileged and some are more disadvantaged depending on like the role in the book, like we just were talking about. But just kind of to tie it back to like the vocabulary word of the active interrogation that they mentioned. Um, and also like the social awareness too that they were talking about. And that kind of ties into what you were just saying with like we as adults have to be socially aware. We have to pick up on like the mannerisms of our children to see what they might be comfortable with and what they might not be comfortable with, you know? Because while some might be willing to like discuss their like problems or their view of like what their hair might be. You might have some kids that are completely like timid and completely scared and shy and just really don't even want to dive into it at all because it's never been acknowledged from anyone. So it's like I've already kind of shield myself from even thinking about it. You know, it's become so normalized now as a child, like I'm not, you know, so it just like time making sure we're like being socially aware and picking up on those cues like because sometimes things can get uncomfortable, you know, and I just and to curate that environment of a safe space that it's really important to pick up on those signs, I guess. And I feel like that ties back to what you
Yeah.
were saying.
Yeah, that's true.
But piggyback up,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Piggyback up what you're saying, Victoria. Like sometimes, like we're teaching a segregation unit during Wit and Wisdom right now. Like those conversations are comfortable. You have white kids in the room, you have black kids in the room, and it's like, but we also can't shy away from the history, from like those dark
Right?
conversations. I mean,
Yeah,
it's they
absolutely.
need to understand where we're coming from and how far we've come. Well, I mean,
Right.
how far we've come in the last whatever many years, depending on the presidency. But yeah.
We know your views.
My whole proposal on this whole thing is inclusive. I can never say the word inclusion through classroom library, and you best believe I quoted President Trump on my proposal and his DEI policies. Because even the book says we need to see what perspectives we must learn from other
Yes.
perspectives, able to navigate through life, to but they help us peel back the blinders of our own biases.
Mhm.
Page 79.
So, Victoria, I just want to say a way, with you being you, a way to help with this is truly building relationships. Some people
Mhm.
say they build relationships, but when you have a kid that can come to you and say, I'm bothered because you said so and so, and y'all can have that discussion, like truly build those relationships.
Right. Yeah. That's like
It's
my
important.
principal, like that's like the first thing she told me. Like they're kind of transitioning me like now in a sense, but she wants me to just focus strictly on relationship building and just like because I feel like that's so crucial to creating an environment that is structured. Like like I feel like a lot of times adults feel like superior over kids, and while there is a certain level of authority, I
Mhm.
don't think you should feel superior. Like we're, you know, like you have to kind of I know this sounds weird, but like not treat them like you would an adult, but like in a sense like you know, like they're human beings. Like they're not just, you know, like it's not just something for you to control, for you to, you know, like you're here to really like teach too. And in order to do that, they have to like you. I'm sorry, they have to like you. Like, so it's just, you know,
You
like
can,
that's important. And
but you can
my,
build
my,
Sorry. You can build relationships though, and they may not like you want them to, but
Mhm.
they will appreciate you.
Appreciate it in the long run, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Gonna say something I forgot. Forgot. But no, I agree. You can't do anything if you don't have a relationship with these kids. And we forget that they're not gonna be 8, 10, however, 6 forever. Like they're going to become an adult. They're going to, we can't, like Victoria's saying, feel superior just because you're an adult. They will also be an adult in a couple of years. So yeah, no, I completely agree with what y'all are saying. They're humans and we need to treat them like humans.
So I want to know if there was anything that you didn't like about Freezy. Like looking at those charts, like I shared how I was bothered by them saying white hair is good hair. So was there anything that you didn't like or that bothered or anything?
Mm,
I super identified with this book. I read it in one sitting. I think I read it in like 45 minutes or something like that. I couldn't put it down. So no, I love the quinceañera. They explain like the quinceañera, the breaking the stereotypes, her relationship with her mom and her aunt. Yeah, I don't personally.
The only thing that's and I guess it stems back to me being, I'm of Jamaican heritage, and growing up in Jamaica, that the same thing I heard, oh, you have good hair. And in the book it says, you have to, they made mention of good hair. And when I read that, I was like, darn it. The first time I read the book, I was like, good hair. What is good hair? Hair is hair. What you mean good hair? So to see that, I'm pretty sure there's some little girl that read it and made that connection as well. That statement of good hair. It to me, I didn't like that was in it because I was like, but I see why it was placed there to go with the story. But I'm like, that doggone statement about good hair,
Yeah.
hearing it when I was younger, it used to irritate me. And even reading it irritates me. That good hair. What is good hair? Hair is hair.
But in the end, the conversation with her aunt, when she was like, "There's no such thing as good,"
Yeah.
Yep.
but
Yeah.
it close it. I understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't leave it there. Like it closes it and explains that there is no such thing
There's
as
your good hair.
hair is hair,
Hair is hair.
and
So
it's part
that
of your identity.
It is.
yeah, it's part of who you are. So, for me, that was the only thing at the beginning of the story when I read it. I was like, oh, that statement about good hair, there it goes again. But, I think the fact that the story saw it through, where it wasn't just a statement that was left hanging, but we see that going throughout the story, she realizes that her hair is beautiful, so, but for me, I just hate that statement, good hair. Ugh, those are fighting words.
um, trying to think.
Mhm.
Mm, I guess like if I had to, I would have like I didn't really dislike, like you said, but if I had to, just like more exploration of her cultural identity beyond just like hair, if that makes sense. Um, so if it could have got more in depth, but I think the author, of course, wanted it to be about what it was about, But aside from that, I didn't really have too many that you haven't hit or we haven't already
Oh,
discussed.
I did just think of one. For the non-Spanish speakers, the little bit of Spanish that's sprinkled throughout. Like if you don't speak Spanish, you have no idea what she's saying. So maybe at the end, a translation or how to pronounce certain words. Really appreciate that I saw the name Paola, but you did not explain how to pronounce Paola. Kind of, I don't know if y'all read Harry Potter.
Mhm.
No, showing my age.
Right.
Like Hermione, I called her Hermione the first four books because it does not explain how to say her name until the fourth book, until it's like it's Hermione. So yeah, if you don't give translations or how to pronounce things, you'll never, the exposure is there, but you'll never
Right.
speak it the way that you should.
Mhm.
Maybe nitpicking, I think that's the only thing.
Yeah. I was just curious. I mean, and being white, people think, oh, well, you don't understand, you don't, and I think that is the case a lot of times, but I do have a little more understanding, I think. I mean, I can't get there, but you know what I'm saying. So,
For sure.
And they don't know your life. They don't know your
I
grandchildren,
know.
your daughter. They don't know anything about you. And it's all, like we've been saying, stereotypes. They
it
see
is.
you,
Mm-hmm.
blonde hair, white. I was like, oh, she doesn't understand. How
Right.
do they?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
They don't know your life. They don't know your struggles.
Mm-hmm. We got them.
Of course, everyone does.
Yes.
Some things are just human. Like it's not, any deeper than just being a human with a heart. Like, so yeah, that's just my personal. But
Mm-hmm. All right, what else are we missing, y'all?
I'm trying to see what else we could talk about.
And she said at least 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Well,
we've touched on the textbook and we've touched on Frizzy and we've looked at the questions for the textbook.
Did we have readings for this week? Let me see.
I think it was just the two chapters in the book. There was
Yeah.
optional things,
Okay.
but
Yeah, it was an optional one, but
What was funny to me is I normally hate reading textbooks, but for some reason, this one, I read the
it's
text and then I watched the stories too. I mean, I didn't read them. I watched them on YouTube being read, but I did it all, which is
yeah.
not.
Yeah, this textbook is really not bad. And I'm like I said, I got mine digitally because it's just easier for me to read it. But it's
I
really
mean,
not bad. It's an easy read. It's not
I'll
bad.
be
I like the questions and the suggestions from
Yes.
it. Mhm.
I'll be honest. I learned English when I was 8. I was in second grade, so I mean, I'm not forever in Yale. There's a lot of textbooks that go
Woo.
way over my head because I don't understand the academic
They go over
language.
my head.
Okay, I thought it was just me, but I can totally understand every word in this textbook. So, or like the journal articles that they send sometimes, I can understand maybe a fourth of what I read, but and then I put it through ChatGPT to be like, please dumb this down for me. Um, but then I understand. But no, I'm loving the textbook that she picked.
I agree. Paola.
There you go, Anika. Anika. I'm saying that right?
Say it again.
Anika. Annika.
Annika. Annika.
Annika.
Yes.
Annika.
Yeah. I'm gonna get it. I'm
You
gonna write
did
it
get
down.
it. You did get
No, no, but I don't want to lose it.
it. Next meeting, I'll quiz you.
Next week now, I'll say something else.
But
All right, so we did the critical comprehension, authentic text, note taking, adherence to time guidelines. I was just looking through the rubric.
Um,
Crazy.
what was I gonna say? Now, reading Frizzy, each one has a lesson. Our textbook has a lesson. I was trying to connect, okay, which lesson would I put this with?
oh,
Oh,
I
You
hadn't
know,
thought about that.
like, would I say this is it's like I'm trying to say, would it be understanding power and the choices we make?
I think it's
Or is
exploring
it,
our identities.
yeah, so I'm going through like all of them. I'm like, could we do more than one for it? Explore multiple. I don't know. I was just trying to figure out what lesson could we really use with it.
Do you mind naming the lessons for me? Because I can't.
All right, so let me go back.
So there's
Lesson
lesson
3.
3. I love my hair is one.
Uh-huh. Because you
Chap-
could use more than one for it.
You could.
So, for exploring identities, lesson 1 is exploring our identities. That's I am every good thing. It's about the
Mhm,
power
yeah.
of names. Lesson 2 is what is identity and like, skin color and that. Lesson 3 is hair and identity. And
Mhm.
lesson 4 is telling or sharing your stories. And lesson 5 is being your truest self. That's the one with the hijab. Hijab, I think is how you pronounce it.
So it really could fit in with all of those.
It really could. That's why I was trying to.
It really could.
And
So,
even perspective. So it's like, I mean, if you read it through Marlene's perspective, it's completely different than her mom's perspective.
exactly.
Oh, they're both doing what's best for, they think they're doing what's best
That's
for
funny.
each other.
Hmm.
I think it could go anywhere. I love that book. I'm so glad that she picked it and I read it.
Yeah. But that was my only question. Was I when I was trying to make the connection with the text and the reading, the book, I was like, would I use one or would I use all? Like how would, what lesson would you put
Or
in?
even like how others can influence her perspective because she was so
Yeah.
on that her hair is bad because that's what other people were telling her or what her mom was telling her.
Mhm.
So it's not until she looked within herself, within her own identity, had that conversation with her aunt, that she was able to come up with her own identity and perspective.
Perspective. Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So we could say, one's perspective does make a difference,
Mhm.
so based on how
Huge.
you look on the situation.
Mhm.
Because the mom was
Yeah,
making me feel
interesting.
way until we got to the part where like they explains that her dad passed and like all the memories that she had with doing their hair and all that, and that's when
Mhm.
it made sense or where she was coming from, because I did not like her mom at first.
Did y'all happen
Mhm.
to the book The Proudest Blue? Did y'all listen to that story?
Yeah, I want to.
Uh,
So to me, I listened to all of them. I was a nerd this time, but it's The Proudest Blue, and like I haven't really thought about it one way or the other. And then whenever listening to that book, I was like, man, that is so like people are so mean. People are so mean. And just hearing this from this little girl's perspective, not even the person wearing it, like I don't know, it opened my eyes. So just perspective is huge.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely.
Also, like as teachers, do we ever put ourselves in our students' perspective, try to see like where they're coming from?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have actually tried over the last couple of years to, I had something happen a few years ago and it made me not be in my teacher head so much and always flip it around to look at the scenario before I even say anything with my students. Like I always stop and look at like go down a checklist in my head. Okay, what could have happened this morning? Who's at home? I like literally go through a checklist. Okay, why is the student doing this? I literally go through it because it makes a difference. Okay, maybe this happened. Why they're acting like this? Maybe this is it. So when I flip it around in my head, instead of just going into teacher brain and trying to address the situation, but okay, why is that? Why would this child respond like that? And I usually, this is my thought now. Okay, can you give Miss Sterling a second to really think about what's going on right now? That's my literally my response. Can you give Miss Sterling a second to just really think about what's going on right now? I just want to pause. Let's pause for a second and really think about this. And I just quickly like do a calculation in my head. And sometimes I'll say, I think we need to think about this a little bit more. And I give them a minute or two to, okay, just give me a second. Let's think about it. And then I'll say, okay, can we talk about it now? And that way it gives them some think time, give me some think time, and we can have a conversation. They don't feel overwhelmed. And sometimes it gives them a second to calm down, you
Mhm.
know? So I've found over the last few years that it's worked. And I'm like, where was this year one of teaching? Like, where does this knowledge came from? But because of the situation that happened, and I had to check myself, then I'm like, okay, let me move forward, asking less questions, but having true conversation with my kids. And it goes back to knowing your kids, because some
Mhm.
kids I have to say, usually give you a minute or two, but I just need to talk to you right now, but I'm not so much like that anymore. But, looking and standing in their shoes and trying to figure out why they're, what's going on in their brain, what's turning, and then having those true conversations. Yeah.
So I can piggyback off of that. We have new school, new administration. We merged two schools, and they were both Title I schools, but my school was like the really title, and so we would have kids that they've never dealt with before. So our administration said we were making excuses for them, and we were like, well, we love them, we're not making excuses. And she made the point, but do you love them enough to teach them how to read? And I was steaming on the inside, but I asked for a minute to compose myself. And I said, I do love them enough to teach them how to read. But if they're coming in hungry, if they just saw their mom being hit by their dad, if they just came to school in a taxi by themselves, they're not ready to read. You need to
Mm-mm.
give them what they need, and then
Mhm.
they might be ready.
Maslow's
Yeah.
hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. And see, that's what I was referring to. It's like you have to know, I have to go down in my head and say, okay, this is such and such. I know this, that, that, that. It's like I have a checklist in my head. Okay. All right, let's think about it for a second. What could be causing this scenario? Because you have to know we're making these connections in this book. This child may be having a horrible, horrible hair day. Like if you see this girl coming in with her hood over her head and you're like, take your hood off, you're inside the building. You don't know. So usually before I even say it, I let them walk up, look at their face, and have a conversation first. And then when I figure out what's wrong, okay, sweetie, don't forget you're in the building. Go ahead and take your hood off now. Because now you've diffused the problem and then you can take the hood off. But you got to address the issue first. You have to address the situation first before you address the real problem.
And it's
So
usually boys with haircuts.
yeah, it's boys, but again, yeah, I've had one this year, going back to the same sort of frizzy, it's him, and dad took it all his hair off because he was getting in trouble with his haircut and the style that he wanted to wear. And dad cut it all off and said, hey, I'm cutting it all off. And now you don't have that problem in school anymore. But it created a different issue because now self-esteem comes into play.
Yeah.
So they try to solve one, but then here's a problem that I have to deal with now, where now I'm going to act up because now my self-esteem is coming. It's like, oh my gosh, it never ends.
I do want to kind of point out how I can't remember who just said it, but y'all mentioned the hierarchy of needs.
hmm
Really needed to hear that. Like I
Yeah.
was a psych major before I was got into grad school for special education. So like I try to translate a lot of that over into what I do. Originally I wanted to do school psychology, but me personally, I felt like I could make a bigger difference inside of the classroom and I wanted to start inside of the classroom. So that's kind of a little background about what got me here. But just like mentioning that and understanding what takes precedence over, another thing is so important. And I really needed to hear that, like, because I just pulled it up and now it's going to be printed and posted in my class.
But I do want to tell you that not all teachers feel that way, and not
Feel that
all
way.
admin.
Not all of them, but I definitely I needed that reminder. I definitely did.
Like,
So I really appreciate that.
I just had a meeting today. One of my newcomers last year, they were having a lot of issues at home with grandma. Grandma basically kicked them out. So they had to leave to Atlanta. They had issues in Atlanta enrolling. I don't know what happened. He came back. Essentially, this kid hasn't been to school from December 2023 to December 2024. He left me in second grade. So now he's in third grade and he's having behavior issues. He's a newcomer. He's in a pre-K level, like we were still doing letters and numbers. And the teacher, one of his goals, behavior goals, was completion of work. And we went back and forth. I was like, you can't expect him to complete his work, a third grade work at a pre-K level. I was like, but he needs to do something. Then you need to meet him where he's at, not him meet you where you're at. We went back and forth during this meeting. I was like, I'm studying Korean. I was like, look, I can give you a whole page in Korean and say, and I told her, I was like, you can't get up until you finish that. You don't know Korean. You don't know the characters. You don't know the alphabet. He's looking at it at the how Korean looks to you, English looks to him right now.
Good for you.
So if y'all, one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fight for my kids because they don't. And I was told her, I was like, you don't understand where he's coming from because you're not Hispanic. You've never had to learn another language. You never had to, pick up or uproot your whole life to come to a country where you don't know the language, you don't know the kids. All you see is this teacher yelling at you because you're not completing your work. So yes, I'm a very true believer, Victoria, on hierarchy of needs. I
Yeah.
can't, if you're hungry, if you're experiencing homelessness, if I can't expect you to I'm not gonna sit here and teach you how to do math when
That's
when you're hungry.
Yeah. And one thing I can definitely say about AU, every day is different. Like I have a schedule, don't get me wrong. I have one for every day. But every day is different because every day at home for a lot of my students is different. So I have to like take that on when they come to me It's like some days now you're asleep because you had to go here. Unfortunately, I had a parent send a note to school like so and so might not be in the best condition. Let me know if he lashes out or anything like that. Because as of right now, like we don't have a home. So if you get what I'm saying, things like that play a huge part in emotional, social awareness needs, like
Everything.
everything. So
Yeah.
it's so crucial first to understand. And that's why I said I'm so glad you brought the reminder, like the visual reminder, the connection in my head back to that hierarchy that I needed from Maslow. Like I'm really, really, really so happy you just said that. Like you have
I was like, maybe that can be like a concern. What do we do with the teachers that don't believe in? Like, I'm here to just teach.
Mhm.
No, you're not.
Mhm.
You're more than a teacher. And if you believe that, you don't need to be in the classroom, in my opinion. But that's
Yeah.
just me.
Or in the school, not necessarily classroom.
Don't be
Mm.
around children, please.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
All
think
right,
we
y'all
hit-
want to go ahead and schedule our next one?
Yeah.
Yay.
Because I know module 3, we have to have one.
Yeah, I think we have one for next 4 modules, right?
Mhm.
It's
I think so.
2, 3, yeah. So, like I
just
said, I am available every day from 3:30 to 4 to like 4:45. So
Did
any
3:30
day,
work for everyone?
yeah,
yeah, it
3:30
works
works.
for me on Thursdays. For me.
Thursday doesn't work. I had to cancel. I had to leave a meeting to come. So
Okay.
if we could do another day besides Thursday,
Okay.
do
Do you guys
y'all
have
have
any
a day?
as long
Um,
as it's not Friday, because I work 2 jobs. So
Yeah.
Friday I have to go from one job straight to another
Okay.
job.
yeah. Um, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I don't
Tuesday
know.
works for me. Does Tuesday work for y'all?
Yeah.
Not for me.
Okay.
Wednesday?
Wednesday?
Okay.
Wednesday?
Let me just look
When
and see
is
when our faculty meeting is so that I don't schedule it on that day.
mine's are Mondays, so I can't do.
Mine's on Wednesday, but if we schedule it, I can look and see if we got one. So
How about what? So today is the
20th.
20th. So
Oh,
when's our thing? So we have
The next one is due March 16th. Can we do it the week of its due? Because I'm super overwhelmed and I'm really behind on
so
some
Wednesday the
dates.
12th, March 12th.
Wednesday the 12th?
Okay,
Wednesday,
let me
March
make sure
12th.
I don't have a faculty meeting.
My birthday is March 16th. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh, okay. See, there you go. We'll be done before your birthday.
Okay, March 12th.
Wednesday, March 12th.
I'm at a coach meeting, but maybe they'll let me. I don't know if they'll let
March
me.
13th, Amy?
That's
Oh,
a
you said you can't do
Thursday.
Thursdays?
Sorry. We can do that. We can. Can we do the next? When is it due again?
The 16th.
16th. It's due the 16th.
So
of March.
we couldn't do a Monday or a Tuesday.
Hold up. Let me see. Hold up. Let me check my schedule, see if I have that 11th
March
open.
10th. It's fine by me.
I have a faculty meeting.
Oh,
We
you have a
have them
meeting.
on Mondays.
Yeah, you have yours on Monday.
Mhm.
Um,
What about the week before? Is it possible to do it then?
Hold on. Let me see if I have that March 11th. Hold up. Trying to get to my calendar. I'm open March 11th.
all right, so March 11th.
Can everybody do
Victoria, does
March
that work
11th?
for you?
So Tuesday,
That's,
March 11th.
yeah, that's fine. I can just move things around and do whatever I need to do. That's a lot.
That's my son's birthday, but I'll meet with you guys
Oh,
first.
no, we don't want to do that.
It's fine. We're not going to have dinner this early. We'll be fine.
Who said they had to move things around to do it?
Victoria.
No, I said if I have to. So my school isn't as organized as you guys. So we don't know about faculty meetings until like the week of.
Oh,
So unfortunately, if we're scheduling early, that's fine. I mean, they know I'm in school. They're pretty understanding because they know they don't let us know. So
Yeah,
okay.
my faculty meetings are on Tuesdays as well, but I have some flexibility where I can, if it's 3:15, I can say, okay, I really need to go and go ahead and join you guys. So
Okay. And I'm sorry I can't do Thursday, but I left them for this one, so I don't want to ask to do that again.
yeah,
Okay, so March the 11th at 3:30.
yes.
sounds great.
All right, who wants to record or send the link and do the minutes next time?
You can do it. Okay.
Who?
I can do it. That's what I was about because that's a birthday. Like I can definitely do it. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna send it tonight. So I'm gonna send like the link and just go ahead and create everything and just go ahead and send it
Yeah, that's
early.
fine.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Any
It
other?
was nice meeting you ladies for
Nice
the
meeting you
I was
too.
honestly dreading this because my last meeting with the other class didn't go well, but the conversation flowed really well. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
I enjoyed it. So we all have a link to upload for this book talk assignment. So only one person uploads. Only one person is submitting, correct?
So
So I'm
for
about
the,
to
go ahead.
The book talk was a video, right?
Not the book talk. What is this?
Book
What are we
club.
doing? Book club.
Book club. Book club.
I'm
Yes. Oh,
confused.
so Amy will upload for all of us this
Okay,
time.
yeah. Okay, all right.
And I'll send it to y'all too,
Okay, all right.
so that you know I'm not screwing this on a grade.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
We trust you.
Well, I enjoyed it, ladies.
All right, ladies, you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks. I hope you do too.
See y'all the 11th.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Just cannot wait.